Shalom, people. This is Brother Loss coming at you with another video. And I want to talk to you about something that I noticed today when I read these scriptures coming from the book of Exodus, the 11th chapter, um, talking about the final plague that Father Yahuwah released upon the land of Egypt or Mizraim. Let me read and we'll discuss it. Starting at verse 1, Exodus 11, verse 1. And he said, and the Lord said unto Moses, yet will I bring one more plague upon Pharaoh and upon Egypt or Mizraim. Afterwards, he will let you go hence. When he shall let you go, he shall surely thrust you out thence altogether. Speak now in the ears of the people, and let every man borrow of his neighbor, and every woman of her neighbor, jewels of silver and jewels of gold. And the Lord gave the people favor in the eyes of the Egyptians. Moreover, the man Moses was very great in the land of Egypt, in the sight of Pharaoh's servants, and in the sight of the people. And Moshe said, thus saith the Lord, about midnight will I go out into the midst of Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sitteth upon his throne, even unto the firstborn of the maidservant that is behind the mill, and all the firstborn of beasts. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there was none like it, nor shall be like it any more. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know that the Lord has put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. And all these thy servants shall come down unto me and bow down themselves unto me, saying, get thee out, and all the people that follow thee. And after that I will go out. And he went out from Pharaoh in a great anger. And the Lord said unto Moses, Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that my wonders may be multiplied in the land of Egypt. And Moses and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh. And the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, so that he would not let the children of Israel go out of his land. Right? And what I notice is, we have this thing with now the Democrats clearly have stated that our people, Hebrew people, black people, help get Biden over the hump in the state of Georgia and other key states in order to get the presidency. Whether or not you believe that it's all fixed or there was corruption or whatever, we understand, because we are the people, we are the kingmakers, that just our voice alone, even when it comes to stuff that's not good, carries weight. So let's just say that it was black people, in particular black women, that got Biden over the hump. But as we are seeing in the news with some of the leaked audio of the meeting that some of our some of the black or Hebrew leaders in the nation had with Biden, he's not really offering us anything. So we're out that in that sense, and also the fact that he stated in these meetings that the Hispanic community has more importance in his eyes than us. So we're effectively out in his eyes. We can look for nothing coming from him on a voluntary basis. We also look at the things dealing with prison reform and some of the things that supposedly Trump had offered, which in my estimation, with him using his powers to release criminals like General Flynn and these other people, that he could probably release a whole lot of black men and women that's been behind bars for decades for low-level drug crimes, but yet he's not doing that. So we can look for the same thing to happen when Biden gets in office, that he's not going to release none of these people neither. We can also look at the medical situation that we're in. I'm not so enamored with, the Affordable Health Care Act, in the sense of when it first came out, that if it didn't get managed and upgraded, that it was gonna, be overall beneficial to us as black people, for those that could not afford their own health care, just for the fact of when they put the penalty and some of our people didn't get it, and then they had tax returns held back or whatever. So I understood when it was passed that it was problems, but even with the problems, it did help some people. But we know that it effectively is falling apart as we speak. So that's going away from us. Then we can look at the other part of this medical thing, dealing with this pandemic, as some people call it. Now with this seemingly miraculous inoculation that they are putting out there as the miracle cure, that many of us are skeptical of, but that we see they're moving very swiftly to try to make it, if not mandatory, make it where if you don't get this inoculation and the different forms that it's going to come from several different companies with several different medical technologies that are that were rejected or even unthought of in the past, of injecting somebody's another person's RNA and mRNA into you, or shellfish and all this other kind of derivatives of stuff that we as Hebrews believers know that's unclean, to inject this into you, and that many of us are stating that we're not getting it, but also the fact that that's going to bring on the fear of the Biden administration and the FDA and CDC and others, that they are probably going to move to mandate it if you want to be able to move around with any ease, even within the cities that you live in. Many of us see that, as, hey, it's sink or swim. But if you look at the situation of that in Egypt, you see that they both parallel each other. Because here in the 11th chapter, Exodus, we know that things that got pretty bad for the think about it, the Israelites, our ancestors. Think about it. A lot of the livestock of Egypt had been destroyed. A lot of the crops of Egypt had been destroyed. A lot of the infrastructure of Egypt had been destroyed, of which they depended on. That they no longer had their jobs anymore, because if Yah was destroying the land of Egypt, now understand this, the type of slavery that they were in, yes, they were brutally treated. But remember when they got in the wilderness, what they stated? They stated they did get fed. They did have a place to stay. So basically, as Egypt was coming under all this, they were losing out. So think about this also, the fact that when they did have the jobs, Pharaoh was telling them make bricks without straw. So you can even see that where some of the people got upset with Moses and said, "You making our life hard. You should have just left it the way it is." This is the same situation that we're facing right now, but this is the situation that Yah had created. He wanted it to be like this. He wanted it to be where only He could pull us out of this situation. Because if Egypt was going down, if Yah didn't come and save us, we were going to go down also. And Yah understood it, but Yah was hardening Pharaoh's heart for this one last plague that was going to, like as he said, was going to have cause a cry throughout all Egypt, like none like it, nor any more would be like it. And I'm here to tell you that I believe in the coming months, with the economic things just getting ready to go down, with some of the things that's going to go down after they start, I believe, this is my belief, after they start injecting people with this inoculation, which I call scorpions poison. This is my belief. I'm believing that it's gonna open up a Pandora's box, because Yah is putting the bullseye on this country because He's letting the iniquity of the Amorites come to a full. So we must be hopeful in all this. We must be hopeful in the fact that we know that Yah has got to put it like this in order to get what He wants out of Pharaoh and out of Egypt. He's got to set the conditions like this. But notice one of the things that had already happened, it wasn't so much the Egyptian people overall. And I'm not saying all of them now, but it seemed like it was a class of Egyptians that the Bible says here that they looked upon Moses with favor, and some of the people with favor. So much so that Yah said, go to some of these people and the word borrowed is not a good word. Basically, they got they payment for the time that they had worked in Egypt and built up the treasure cities. I was telling them to go to these people and get their payment. So, what is the parallel to this? I don't know what this means to us today, but I do believe Yah is getting ready to bring many more calamities on this nation. So somewhere in there, in the next year or so, I gotta believe that somewhere, I don't think it's gonna be the government. I don't know, but if it's got to be a second Exodus, it's got to kind of go along with what's going on. We already know that the stimulus is kind of shaky, but we know that stimulus is not what the Bible is talking about for us. We are talking about the wages that they owe our ancestors and us. I don't know what it will be, how it will be given. I really don't know. And also, I don't know any companies I'll say this. Black Lives Matter, which we know is not really a representation over all of some of the things that when you read their website and look at what they really stand for, right? But even given that, we know that after George Floyd was murdered, that over $1 billion was donated to Black Lives Matter. So I don't know. Could it be before all this stuff transpires even though the government is not going to do it. It could be some private sector companies or cities or states that say, you know what, we're going to get together and we're going to create a fund for these black people, to those that are descendants of slaves. You're seeing here and there little cities and little towns that are already trying to do that. But whatever that's got to be done, it's got to be on a massive scale. And apparently this is something that was going to happen quite rapidly. It wasn't going to be something that was going to be, this is going to be a 5-year plan to pay y'all back. No, Yah said go do it now. Why? Because he said, I'm getting ready to bring the death angel. So the stuff that's going to happen is going to be on a colossal scale. And if we look at the stimulus, how much trillions of dollars that they pulled up, the private sector has way more money than the government, because the government gets their money from the taxes, from companies and from people. The government can print the money, but the sweat equity comes from the corporations, right? So the corporations can get together and do this. And remember, a lot of these American corporations is based overseas. So if this nation went down, they probably would be hurt, right? But they still have subsidiaries all over the world. So they could possibly do what they need to do as we get our reparations, as we exodus out of this nation, as this nation continues to get judged. And he said the judgment that he was going to bring, right? In verse 6, he said it was going to cause a great cry throughout Egypt. But in verse 7, he said, but against the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that we may know that the Lord has thus put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. We know that the great divide in this nation has always been black and white. Or as we say, we know we are the people, Hebrews. And even when it came to Christianity, you had black Christianity, white Christianity, black churches, white churches. We know this. So now at the end of the day, the evangelicals want to say, oh, we're all Christians and there's no black and no white. But that's not always been. It's been that way recently, because I think their leaders have been knowing that we are the people and that this is the day of reckoning that is coming. So now they want to cause us to believe that. But what's happening when the Proud Boys and all these other people are getting out there, and Pat Robinson and all these other people saying the different things that they're saying, but they want us to go along with that when nobody comes against any of them supporting different causes of their European cousins, that they say, well, we want to support Germany against England or England against Germany or whatever. We never got in and say that you Europeans can't favor those Europeans. Let them fight amongst themselves. No, but when it comes to us saying that we no longer want to be part of that, we want to pull ourselves out of this, and some of us want to get on up out of this place, you're making it difficult. You're making it difficult because we're saying we understand, okay, this is your laws, your land, your police. So now we want to get on up out of here. But then you bring all this death and disease by letting whatever this is get into this country. You let it run rampant, and you let it even consume your own people. And now we won't want to be part of it anymore, but you trying to make it hard. You trying to, put stipulations, and you trying to browbeat people, and even using deception and everything to scare people into doing different things and shifting numbers. And we're ready to get out. Some of us, not all of us, because I gotta believe that it was some Israelites that the only reason that they was gonna be part of the Exodus is because Yah created the conditions where it was more advantageous for them to leave Egypt because it was going down. But we can see when they got into the wilderness how they acted. Uh, I'll say this: it was some Egyptians that left out with Moses them, so some of them even seen it was more advantageous to get out and wanted to get out than probably some Israelites, right? So I believe it could be the same case in this situation because we do know it is some, Caucasian people that they do know and believe that we are the people, and trying to, say that show favor to them and speaking on our behalf. So we can't paint everybody with a broad brush. Whereas it's some of our own people that are speaking the most rhetoric against us, that are saying we want to leave and we want to get out, and that we want to, we want to get reparations for the things that happened to our forefathers and us that never got paid. They're some of the biggest, supporters to the opposition. So we can't paint that with a broad brush. But I just thought the parallel when I looked at this. I said this situation was basically hopeless if Yah didn't come in, because if he killed, he was going to kill off so many of the Egyptians. There only way that they was going to survive was to get on up out of Egypt. But Yah was making it where they could not move until he did his great work and they observed it. And I think that's the thing that we got to look at, because one of the things that I was looking at, when and it is still out. Me and my wife plan to visit the African continent, right? But I'm looking at the situation that some of us that have got out already to the continent, we just don't know how those countries are going to react when they're offered by the World Bank and others to forgive all their debt if they bring the vaccine to their countries. And by the way, if the American government tell them, and please make sure that you say several thousand vials for American citizens that have repatriated over to your country, meaning a lot of our Hebrew brothers and sisters that have moved them and their whole families over. We don't know if that's going to be the case, that's what they're going to do. And they say, we're going to forgive all the debt, forget what the Chinese can do. We can do this for you right now, and we can put this package if you would just do this, right? We don't know if that's going to be the case. So that's why I believe what Yah does in this nation is going to be so, because I believe once he does that, whatever kind of way he's going to pull it off with the great cry across America, which it is already a great cry. There's already a great cry, right? With this whatever dread thing going on, but whatever on top of that he has when we leave out, right? He said that we must leave out with great substance. I don't know. And see, that's another thing. What could the great substance, could it be? Like I said, corporations coming together and putting the fund together, or some people setting up some settlements, or putting forth money for settlements for us in Africa, land, paying African nations to do that. We just don't know. But whatever it is, I believe it's got to be Yah driven. That Yah is making it hard for a lot of us to be able to exit out right away, and exit out smartly, not just running to some place, like I said, in Africa, where it possibly could be that when the World Bank and the World Health Organization offer some of these African nations that are in debt forgiveness, that, like I said, that they would not take these vaccines and give it to some of their citizens or to some of our people, or both. We just don't know, right? So this is not to, deter anyone that's trying to get out of here and lead to get away from what they're doing here. But just understand that when you get there, you need to be praying for wherever place you at, that's not what they do. Because I'm here to let you know that they're not gonna, these nations, at least their leadership. I'm not talking about the people in the local cities and villages where you might have exodus to, but their government, their president, their prime ministers might be thinking otherwise when they look at debt and look at what the pandemic has done to their nations, and say, if the World Bank is willing to do this, if they're willing to forgive this, hey, we're going to do what we need to do. You understand? Because Yah has to be the Savior this time. That's why the scripture said the second Exodus would be greater than the first one. Why? Because there would not be no one man, Moses, that they could try to take out. All these plagues and all these things is going to come. There's going to be coming supernatural from the hidden hand of Yah. But they're going to know it's Yah, but it's going to be the hidden hand. Unlike when Moses had the staff in his hand, we're sending up prayers for Yah to deliver us, and Yah through his angelic host and through the power of the Holy Spirit and an agreement amongst our people that this needs to happen, that we need to exit this out. Yah is hearing it and moving. So they can't just take out one man or one woman and then this stuff is going to stop, right? Because remember, Pharaoh told Moses and Aaron, said, I don't want to see your face again and all this. He said, you ain't going to see our face again. And then that's when Yah told Moses, he says, Pharaoh's heart's going to hard. He's not going to listen to you. And I put it that way because I want him to make the situation impossible, so that when I do this, you're going to know it's me. And so it's the same situation that we are in. It's an impossible looking situation with the economy, with the health, with the political situation where, we know definitely Republicans wasn't going to do anything, but the Democrats have been pretty much out and outright showed through that leaked audio that they're not going to do anything about all the stuff that's going on, right? There's not going to be no less police brutality or nothing like that. It's not going to happen. So and also with the fact that we are, learning all these different things, with all these hacking headlines coming out, who's to say that the next thing is not that the internet is going to go away for a short period of time, that they're going to say the hackers have just messed it up so much that they got to bring the new internet back up, and the new internet will not allow us to do the things that we're doing with YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all these different things. And therefore Yah will have to move, because then the way that we communicate with each other, because we scattered throughout and whatever, then Yah will have to move right away. But then notice what he said. He said, I'm not going to let any harm happen to who? Those that are Israelites. Now we understand we are the people of Israel by blood. But if you're not born again, you're not part of true Israel, right? In the sense of the original olive branch was is still there, but the branches of the olive branch was broken off because we rejected Yeshua. So anybody, whether they're natural or that's grafted back in to that olive tree is Israel. But in that olive tree, those that are the natural branches, that were blinded for a while, those that are the natural branches that's grafted back in, that Yah said that he went to the Gentiles to make us jealous. Now that the times of the Gentiles are coming back in, those that are the natural branches, we get first now, because we was put to the back of the bus. We was pushed down. We was held down. But now Yah is saying no, because it's the same way. When they came out of Egypt, it was some Egyptians that came out with them. It was a mixed multitude that came out with them. So it will be with this. But who were leading at the heads of the different tribes? It was Israelites. So as we coming out as a nation, right? A natural nation, as a natural nation, it's gonna be us, right? But I believe it's only gonna be us of us that are in Yeshua, us of Israel, who are the natural branches that have been grafted back in. Now, some believe that everybody, whether they are believers in Yeshua, that's Israel is gonna be pulled out when this Exodus happened. I don't know. It could be. I would more tend to believe that might not, that could or could not be the case. The important thing is, the concentration of the thing is going to be those that are in Yeshua. But it's gonna be a H-hour type thing, meaning we're gonna be at, some of us now are gonna be at the point of desperation when as we see all these factors against us, that Yah said, I have to put your back against the wall in order to let them know when I do the deliverance of you, that it is me, is my hidden hand that's going to be revealed on a worldwide scale, right? So that was just something that I noticed. I tried to make it as clear as I could, as it was for me, how I seen to you, that these situations that's facing us, only Yah could pull us out of these, because we know that this, whatever this stuff is that they're trying to sell us on, is not good. You can feel it in the air. You can look at the situation with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and tell that they're not going to do anything for black people, concerning anything that's going to be of substance. They might do a few things here and there, but overall they're going to say the priority is to save the nation from this, whatever. That's going to be the focus. And also anyone that is going to speak, they're going to lump everybody together. Not to mention, we're going to have those other factions out there on the far right, the alt right, that going to be in full on rebellion against whatever this is. And I'll just say this: it's a reason why the military is went to a lot of automation and drones and everything, because frankly, they probably got so many drones for so many people. And I'm when I was in the military, the Hellfire missiles that they use, those are very powerful ordinances. So you get a couple 100,000 or more drones that can easily fly over this country or whatever, and then you got automated tanks and stuff like that. They could do a lot of damage to anybody that would rise up, against them. I don't care how heavily armed the militias or whatever is. They got some stuff. Let me just put it that way. So that's why I'm saying it's gonna have to be Yah that's gonna deliver us. It's not gonna be there's not gonna be no armed resistance against whatever. It's gotta be the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yah to the pulling down of strongholds. And like he said, he's not gonna let a dog move his tongue against us. So to me, I'm saying those that are in Yeshua, those that are people, that I believe, and I'm praying that this is the case, that our transition out of this land will be without incident, in the sense of, not that we're not gonna see some death, we're not gonna see some injury, some sickness or whatever, but overall, right, the violence of us being brought over here, I want to believe that Yah is going to kind of give us, it started off with a bang, but I want to believe that it's going to go out with a whimper, that when we walk out, it's going to be like, that's what I'm praying. Because why would Yeshua say, look up, for your redemption is nearer than when you first believed? And there he would say, rejoice in it. Rejoice. How can you rejoice, right, with all this stuff? Another thing we have to put in, and we got to put in a different mindset that we have, right? That Yeshua also said, pray that you be counted worthy to escape the things that's coming upon the earth. That's why the Bible said, make your calling and election sure, right? Talking about salvation. Salvation spiritually, but for us as Israelites, let's make sure our salvation is the calling is sure. Joseph didn't make it out of Egypt, but he said, take my bones with you when you leave. I'm just excited to be living in this time, and get ready to end this video. But if you like this video, I want you to give it a thumbs up. I want you to leave a comment, and I want you to subscribe to this channel, and I want you to pray for the peace of Yasharal, our people, worldwide, not just here. Because whatever happens here is going to affect what our people want to do throughout the world, right? If they see Yah pull us out without incident, then you'll see a lot more of our people rising up and claiming their heritage, because they know that Yah is moving on our behalf. For those that are his people in Yeshua, that's what I believe. I want you to continue to pray my strength in Yah. Be blessed.